Good morning, welcome back. Today it is Thursday. I think it's either the 2nd or 1st of August. We're heading down to Crown to play in the accumulator event of the Melbourne Poker Champs. 100% every time I come here, I almost always get the same parking spot because my car's really small and no one else parks here. I'm gonna go in and see if I can register yet. Gonna go and grab something to eat, hang out for a bit, and hopefully I have some updates for you on the first break. So we've made the first break. We started with 15,000, we've built it up to a little bit over 32. We were at 40,000 at our highest point. Average stack is about 18k at the moment, so we're a little bit above average. We're probably the chip leaders on our table at the moment. We've got a very aggressive image, but that's partly because we've just been waking up with monsters. So I've only lost one hand so far. We were in middle position, folds around to us, blinds were 200, 400 at this point. We decide to open it up to 1,000. We have pocket tens. It's folded around to the big blind who decides to shove all in for about 7,000, I think it was. We call with our pocket tens and he rolls over ace-9 offsuit. I think the guy in the big blind, he would have just been playing back on our open because we've been opening quite a bit. He was probably wanting a fold, but unfortunately we had tens and we had to call there. Flop was 2, 3, 4, so he was one card off the straight as well. Turn was I think a 7 and the river was the ace, so he hit his ace on the river and we lost that pot. So this hand we were on the button with ace-jack offsuit. 2 people limped in and then it came around to us. Blinds were 100, 200 at this point and we had about 14k behind. I decide to bump it up to 750 and I get a call from one of the players who limped in. Flop comes down, queen 9-5, 2 clubs. Limper checks it over to us and I decide to continue for 1100. He slowly calls. Turn comes down, another queen. He checks and this time I decide to check it back as well. So the river comes down, the jack of clubs. Now we've got 2 pairs. So I just want to go over this hand a little bit more. I want to talk about my thinking behind my eventual call. I somehow forgot to mention when I was originally recording this that he shoved all in on me on the river. So just for the sake of this video, I'm going to refer to the other player in the hand as Mike. He probably plays every tournament that they have on the regular schedule at Crown. I played quite a lot with him throughout the month of June, early July. He is the sort of player who will donk shove in all of his chips on the flop if he has hit top pair. From what I've seen, he's not the type of player who will slow play. Mike will use speech play. He will tell you what he's got. I remember a hand with him. He calls a raise out of position from a lady after limping in. He flops a gut shot and he just donk shoves his whole stack in. It was an overshove. Old Mike's sitting there and he's telling the girl he has a gut shot. And the girl, she's a regular there as well, and she's saying, I know you have a gut shot, but I can't call. And he does indeed have the gut shot. He rolls over his cards. All of this was coming into my thought process on whether or not I was going to make this call or fold. So I'm sitting there thinking, and he starts telling me, because you checked, I had to make a move. I think I went into the tank for about 2 minutes on this one. I was just trying to put everything together, and thinking about it now, I think if this hand was against any other player, I don't make the call. Like, the only hand that I'm beating is Jack 10. This player is very capable of just going crazy with a 9 or a 5 as well, so I've got that in the back of my mind. He's the sort of player who probably would have check jammed all of his chips on the flop after I c-bet if he had a queen. I think he does the same thing with a flush draw as well. Once we got to the river, I was putting him on exactly Jack 10, or he's just trying to get funky with a 9 or a 5. I think having all this history with the player comes into the equation a lot as well. If I didn't have all of that knowledge, or if I'd never played with him before, I think it's a fold. I think most people who didn't know this player would have folded in that spot. If he had a queen, he probably would have told me that he had a queen, same with a flush. Just from what I've seen previously, he's been known to do that before. I eventually make the call and he does indeed have Jack 10. So he hit the Jack on the river as well. So we took that pot down and that was the beginning of our climb. And we're going to head back in. Hopefully we'll see you guys at the next break. busted. They had around 150 entrants in this flight, 50 left when I busted, and there was still around 2 hours of play left, so probably a very small proportion of the people that are left will be bagging up tonight. We lost a really big hand with pocket aces. We were under the gun. We had about 40k in front of us at this point. So this next hand here was the beginning of the end for us, unfortunately. Blinds were 600, 1200 with a 200 ante. We wake up with aces under the gun and we decide to open it up for 2600. We get a call from a player in late position and the big blind decides to come along as well. Flop comes down 764 rainbow. The big blind decides to lead out for 3,000. He only had around 8,000 behind at this point. I decide to pop it up to put him all in. The other player folds and the big blind puts in the rest. So he tables 7-5 of diamonds. So he's flopped top pair and he's got an open-ended straight draw as well. Unfortunately for us, he hits another 7 on the turn and the river bricks out. We drop down to around 25k after this hand, and unfortunately we couldn't recover from that. We ended up getting it in good pocket nines against a 6 of hearts, and there was an ace in the window. So GG us.